Good morning, and welcome to Make with Notion. This is our very first in-person conference as a company.
And if you weren't there, don't worry about it because I'm going to take you with me. I'm going to show you everything, my entire journey, show you all the fun activities, go over all the announcements and the rollouts, and give you my overall thoughts and impressions. So stay tuned. Let's go.
3, 2, 1. Make with Notion!
So I went to on this journey to go to Make with Notion. It was in San Francisco, California. I had to fly all the way from Florida, so I booked myself an early flight. And as you can see, it's great to book an early flight because the airports are kind of empty. I thought I was doing something great because I was there at 1 a.m. Come to find out, the gates don't even open until about 2:30, 3 o'clock a.m. So camped out in the airport. While I was there, I was looking over the agenda that they had for the day, and the first thing I had to do was figure out which events I was going to attend to, because they had some events on stage 1 and some events on stage 2. So as a Notion enthusiast, I went into my Notion dashboard, started to look at the different sessions, put them side by side, and then figure out which ones I was going to go to. And I did that by color coding them. Green means that's the one I definitely wanted to go to, and the red was where there was breaks, where I knew I was going to have time to do some networking, hang out, make some phone calls, meet with other creators and industry leaders, whatever. So I put together this nifty agenda in my Notion, so I knew which events I wanted to attend to, with some flexibility depending on how the day was going to move. And I thought that was very helpful when I went in there to know which ones I was going to go to, which ones I were going to attack. And then I had to take a look over because there were a lot of things that were going on off stage, like the lunch break. There was an opportunity to meet with other Notion makers. They had a community space. They had partner booths. I wanted to make sure that I took it all in and visited all of them. There was a space to get feedback, which I did take advantage of. So place where you could talk about careers. All of that was, by the main level in the second stage. And so it was finally, I was on my flight to head to California. And first stop is I had to fly from Florida to Dallas. American Airlines, I just had to point this out. Heads up, thank you for having that charging port there on the planes. It helped me tremendously for the next couple hours as I was flying in to land into Dallas. Now, the landing was fine, got there okay, but once we reached the taxi, it was pretty brutal. I was so happy to finally get off of that plane.
Alright, so that was pretty brutal. We landed about at least a half hour ago, and we just 30 minutes just on the runway. It felt like he actually landed in Houston and actually drove the plane to Dallas. So here we are, Dallas.
I got there with plenty of time to navigate my way through the airport. I had to make sure that I got to the gate for my next flight to head out to San Francisco. And if you've done any traveling, you know how it is. The difference of walking and the trams and the Skylinks and all that type of stuff. Make sure that I maneuver my way through the airport to get to my gate. Next flight, heading to San Francisco. And while I was in the flight, since it was going to be a couple hours, I figured I'll get some on my audiobooks done. This I decided to go with The Upcycled Self from Tariq Trotter from The Roots, otherwise known as Black Thought. And that kept me busy. Arrived in San Francisco. So excited. I was starving hungry, so I stopped at a pub, had me a burger and some fries, some water, just so I can make sure that I got my day started right. It was pretty early in the morning. I arrived there around 10 o'clock and hopped in an Uber to head to my hotel and see if I can get an early morning check-in, because check-in isn't until 3 usually. I got there around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I wanted to see if they had any availability to check in. Nothing to brag about. It was a little rinky-dink hotel. I mean, the lobby was nice. The staff was totally fine. They had a continental breakfast there in the morning. They had parking if I was to rent a car. So I just wanted to make sure there was a place for me to lie my head and get ready for the event. So the place worked. Nothing exciting, nothing grandiose about it. It was somewhere in southern San Francisco. It was about a half hour away from the venue, which I knew I was going to have to take a Uber to the next day. And so I want to get a little bit of food on my stomach for breakfast, and then start my way over to Pier 27, where the event was going to take place. And I was surprised to see how packed it was. I mean, it was pretty packed. People were there enjoying the breakfast. They had your cereal. I don't know what's up with the black bananas. Obviously not a good look. Got myself in an Uber, headed to San Francisco, to the pier. It was Pier 27 in San Francisco. Just kind of took in the sights, took in the skyline. You know, as we were driving down the street, we passed the ballpark for the baseball team there in San Francisco. And just, you know, soaking in the moment, soaking in the vibes. You can see the bridge as we're coming up to the pier. There's the bay right there to the right-hand side. I had to make sure I got some nice cinematic footage for y'all, because this is kind of all part of the experience. You want to go and be able to take in and soak in some vibes. And finally, we arrived. Pier 27 to start the day, Make with Notion. As you walk in there, everybody was really friendly. They, of course, had a swag bag that they gave everybody, and they had a desk there to greet you. They had to make sure everyone was aware of photography, that you will be filmed, you would be on camera. You had some partner booths there. You can see that's the one from Slack. A lot of areas for you to hang out and talk. They had a wonderful breakfast spread with a bunch of fancy croissants, so to speak. You know, I just had a little bit of breakfast at the hotel, so I wasn't really that hungry, but I wanted to see what these were all about. So I wanted to, you know, see what our options were. Eventually, I am a chocolate boy, so I decided to go with the chocolate croissant there. It was delicious. But it was a pretty good spread. You had some different options for people with different types of taste buds, well presented, well laid out, and definitely enough for the amount of people that were showing up to the event. Well done job with the presentation on this breakfast menu here. And then I just wanted to walk around, soak in the vibes a little bit. You can see everything was pretty meticulous, down to the desks, the chairs, all kind of had that cardboard, wood, light brown type of look. You can see even, you know, the chairs themselves were well thought out. You can see the little tables were kind of cardboard. I wanted to get you a close-up because I thought this was very interesting. It was a nice thick cardboard, right? Very sturdy, but it was just the whole vibe was really thought through, and it was kind of a universal theme throughout. This is a community room that they had set up, you know, very casual, very laid back. Again, you kind of had these benches made out of cardboard, which I thought were very interesting. They were streaming the sessions here in this room as well. So if you didn't want to go to the main stage, you can come out here, hang out with other people in the community, and watch the sessions on the big screen. And then coffee was a must. Coffee,
Yes, please.
was
Coffee is a
abundant.
must.
I mean, free coffee the entire day. We're not talking about, you know, your watered down vending machine coffee. You know, this was like espresso that was filled in the cups. They filled you up with the hot water, delicious coffee, and trust me when I tell you, I stayed caffeine up the entire day. I had about at least 3 or 4 cups of this coffee.
Yep.
And I gotta say, it was delicious. They allowed you to go over to the bar there where they had all of your sugar. They had different types of milks and creams.
Morning there. How we doing?
Hey, there's some coffee, there's some espresso as well on the other side.
Oat milk and 2% milk, and I'm a 2% type of guy. Different types of sugars. They had some different types of teas there as well. I just went with the basic sugar, and then headed outside to the deck there just to enjoy some scenery, vibe out a little bit, soak in the ambiance. Sometimes it's just important to be in the room, you know what I mean? Be in the room, to network with all these people that are kind of doing the same thing, that have the same mindset, to sit and just kind of refresh your mind, get a bigger vision of things you could do, sit out in this beautiful place. Right? Beautiful view of the bridge and the bay, and just look at all these people coming here for one common cause.
beautiful thing.
Definitely a beautiful way to start the day, just soaking in those vibes. And then before things got started, I wanted to kind of peruse the perimeter and see everything that's going on. I want to take you behind the scenes. This is the main stage here. You can see all of the chairs. You'll be surprised how packed this gets once the sessions start. But they had, all these chairs set up, auditorium style. Then over the side, this was really comfortable, just kind of the laid back vibe where you had the chairs, the sofas, the lamps. One thing that I was surprised to see that there was not a lot of electrical outlets. So there was about 1 or 2 outlets, and you can see during the session as the day went on, a lot of people kind of jockeying to try to find places to charge their phones and their devices because everybody there was on a device. But it was a pretty huge auditorium. You can see the amount of thought that went into planning all this. And then as you move to the back here, this was like another community area that they had set up, kind of going with that same vibe. It was kind of like a tough paper type of material that this wall was made out of, and then they had the light brown carpeting there on the floor with all of the fun seating, so you could just sit there, vibe out with your other makers. They had vending machines with chips and water that you could help yourself to all day. And then in the back here is where you could meet the makers. So a maker space where you were actually able to meet with Notion team members to help you with any ideas that you had. I actually met with somebody to talk about some templates I was working on. They also had the career area back there in the back where you can stop and talk to them about career opportunities that you had to offer. And as I was walking through, I noticed how serious this setup was here for the live stream. So you can see all of the equipment that they had set up here, pretty amazing. But overall, you're sitting in that auditorium just overlooking this beautiful scenery of the San Francisco Bay. So just a great way to start the day. And then here it is, the main event.
Good morning, and welcome to Make with Notion. This is our very first in-person conference as a company. There's a lot to share, a lot to demo, and a lot to celebrate today. So let's get started.
And so they made their announcements. First one was Notion Forms, available to everybody. They talked about some automations, some changes to their automations, which were pretty amazing, things I can implement immediately. They introduced layouts, which is a great way, more flexibility to building out your layouts. They had some improvements to the AI. They announced a marketplace for creators with payments. And then the most intriguing announcement was Notion Mail. And then after their keynote, vibes. Vibes for lunch. They gave us all an opportunity to sit down. Lunch was provided. You can see they had a pretty amazing layout. They had all of your drinks here in the bucket. They had your chips. And, you can choose those. They had, of course, the desserts and delicious cookies. I had one of those chocolate cookies there. And they had a bunch of sandwiches and salads laid out. And then I decided to grab myself a salad and went back outside to soak in the vibes. Now, there's plenty of people that have videos out there that go into all of these launches in depth. Feel free to watch those. You can also watch their keynote live. I'll be going into depth with some more of those things on my channel here shortly, and how I plan on implementing all these things in my business flows. But just, sitting here soaking in the vibe. There's my salad that I had. Opportunity to sit there and just, vibe out with other creators. They had a diverse group of people there, everything from Notion enthusiasts, personal users, business users, template makers, obviously a lot of staff from Notion there that you could talk to, the developers, the product experts, and just a community that you would expect from Notion, in a real comfortable, laid-back environment, nothing stiffy about it, people just sitting around all day long, being able to focus on their endeavors, a lot of opportunity to talk and network with other people and learn. The community of Notion is just one of those communities that draws a lot of people in here because they're very supportive. and everybody was accessible. You can see here I met one of the Notion co-founders, Marie Poland from Okie Dokie. She was there. She was one of the speakers. Simon from Better Creating. I had a great conversation with him, a fan of his. My boy, Mr. Wild and Free from Atlanta, Georgia. And of course, the guru, right? Thomas Frank, when it comes to Notion templates. And then they had, a few speakers. They were talking about their Notion Mail and all the opportunities that's going to bring apart. You have the CEO from Descript gave a nice presentation about how they use Notion, and of course you have Thomas Frank who gave his presentation on how to launch a Notion template business. So a lot of high profile people, a lot of other YouTubers, creators, CEOs, business professionals. And what made it great is that they were all very accessible. They were just intermingled with the crowd throughout the event, able to talk to them. You were able to soak in a lot of knowledge and a lot of information. And just the opportunity with that, when you're in the room with these people, the opportunity you have to sit and talk with them and just vibe out in this beautiful setting. After that, they had a lot of time here at the end where you could just network, hang out. I took advantage of the opportunity to sit down and meet with some of the Notion people to talk about some, go into email a little bit more in depth, talk about some templates I had going on. And then they had the cocktail hour to end things off. They had the wine flowing. Of course, I'm a wine drinker, so I had some red wine. But they had some other options there too. Very friendly, great vibes. Everybody just kind of loosened up, and we had plenty of time to sit out there again out on the pier, have yourself some free drinks. They had some snacks, some finger foods, so to speak, so you can just kind of eat and talk and just kind of be casual with it. These were all delicious. I mean, the pizza, the chicken tenders, it was just delicious. I ate so much food. Tummy was stuffed, but just to kind of give you vibes and the treatment that they gave us here. So I had a lot of time here at the end to sit there and just kind of talk to people. Met a lot of other fellows in the industry, and you can see that it was just kind of casual, relaxed. Everybody that was there in attendance, a lot of the CEOs and the guest speakers were out there hanging out. I had time to sit and chat, and everybody else had opportunities to kind of pick their brains and learn some things, and nothing pretentious about it. Everybody was super helpful. So it was just a great way to strategize and get some motivation and some encouragement and kind of just hang around with some like-minded people. It's so important that whenever you're doing an endeavor that you surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that people that may be at a higher category than you as far as where your journey is, somebody that already achieved there. And you can see they were willingly share their information. Thomas Frank sat there for at least a half an hour or so, just kind of fielding questions, talking to people right outside the cafe there. Marie Poulin was out there. I saw her talking to a lot of people too about, her Notion strategies. And so just conversational type of stuff, but great way to soak in all the knowledge, soak in all of the announcements that they made, all of their launches, and just kind of start brainstorming with others, their excitement and ways that they're going to use it and they're going to build it into the workflow. So I've already crafted a couple ideas on how I can immediately use these to improve my workflow, to simplify my businesses, and to change some of the existing templates that I have out on the marketplace in order to add some of these automations, to add some of these forms. I'm excited to dive into the Notion Mail and see how that works, to be able to streamline my processes even more, and just kind of get into the fun time. So it was a wonderful event, well put together. I mean, aesthetically beautiful. Everything you would expect of Notion with the minimalistic vibes. Everybody had the same kind of vibe to them. As the sun was going down, just a beautiful way to end the day, looking over at the bay and the bridge and just soaking it in. So all I have to say was it was well worth the trip just for this alone, if nothing else. I would encourage you, anytime you have an opportunity to be in the room, to go to an event, you definitely want to be able to go. So my final thoughts, well executed for Notion's first in-person event. It would have been great for it to be maybe a day longer. If it was 2 days, I think we could have been able to have a little bit more opportunity to hang out and share with other creators. But as we closed, I just felt refreshed and knew that I had to be prepared to get things wrapped up, soak it all in, and start going to work on the businesses, get ready to return back to Florida to go ahead and do the hard work that's going to be required. That's a wrap. So time to go back home, back to the airport to get ready for my flight back to Florida, heading through the gates. You know, I had a lot of time to hang out. I just got to say, San Francisco airport, oh my God, the San Francisco airport is amazing. You can see how comfortable it is. It was just a great way for me to unwind. Plenty of outlets, plenty of charging stations. So I spent a couple hours in there just kind of dissecting things. This is where I had opportunity to start going through this footage and start, plotting out my plan. So I just want to thank you for tuning in. So if you're looking for new ways to simplify your business so that you can be more productive, more effective, more efficient, more creative, then make sure you just reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. And number one, don't forget to subscribe to this channel where we'll bring you a lot more content on how we use Notion to achieve those goals, as well as other automations as well. So thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you in the next time. Take care.